Alright, this is a video about scummy people. People that will screw you over, and usually for money. This is from true life experience. So anyway, I had a car, alright, and I used it to haul stuff around. It was an old Astro, and it was dying. The engine was going, right? So I had got this. I can take it to the mechanic in Florida. I can't use my normal mechanic because my normal mechanic is not in Florida, right? I went down to Florida, and I experienced all kinds of car troubles. He says you need a tune-up. I gotta fix a couple of wires, do this and that, whatever, and I'm gonna charge you $1,000. We're like, fine, and then the car will be great, right? Which would have been wonderful. But that's not what happened. What happened was, after the guy did all the work, right, and got his $1,000, he goes like this. He says, just so you know, you should make it back, right? But your first and your third the cylinders, they're misfiring a lot, and you'll probably have to fix it. But you know, I could have got you a new car or another car for the trip out. I'm like, oh, well, I mean, as long as it'll make it back, and I'll have my regular mechanic fix it, and it'll be, oh, yeah, you'll make it back, blah, blah, blah. He's full of shit, right? This guy even called me later and said, so, how'd it go? You made it back? I heard you had a little bit of trouble. And I was like, yeah, you screwed me over, you bastard. You know, you told me I'd make it back. You said it'd be like, yeah, you said I'd be able to get back, and my regular mechanic could fix it, and everything would be great. But no, you show me a car that literally on the way home, it freaking died on me. It started going like that. I'm driving home, it's going. I take my foot off the brakes, it stopped. Then I put my foot on the brakes, it goes. And that's like 2 hours into the trip. I'm going to drive all the way home to freaking from Florida. I like all the way up to Jersey in that thing? No, I don't think so, right? I'm not taking my life in my hands, right? So I made it to Tampa, and then when I get to Tampa, the mechanic says, hey, your engine's shot. You know, I can get you a new one, but it's going to be $3,000, right? Now, the scumbag down there could have just got me a new engine in Florida, but maybe he called around and he couldn't find one. So he was like, oh, I'll just fix it for $1,000, and they can get a new engine when they get back. And this way I get my $1,000 and fuck them, right? So anyway, the mechanic guy says, yeah, I get you a new engine. It'd be $3,000. I'm like, fine, $3,000, right? Charge me $3,000, but at least I'll have the car. It'll have a new engine. On the inside, the car will be almost new. On the outside, it'll look like shit. I don't care, right? But then the mechanic can't find an engine. He's like, yeah, it's going to take a week. I'm like, I can't wait a week. I got to go home. And then he's like, you know what? You know, this car's going to have all kinds of problems anyway. It's rusted here, this and that. He says, look, we'll just keep the car for work. So now I don't owe that guy anything, but now I don't even have a fucking car to trade in or get anything for, or sell for parts or nothing, or even scrap, make like $500, right? So, but I don't blame them, right? They said, we'll call it a wash, they'll keep the car. I had a new transmission, stuff like that. Now, I blame the scumbag that screwed me over in Florida, right? So anyway, I go back to Florida, and I couldn't even, you know, I don't know if you know this, but you can't rent a van from, I guess it's, well, we tried to rent a car. We tried Enterprise, and from Florida to New Jersey, Enterprise would have been like $600. But I was willing to do it, but then they didn't have any, you know, they tell you, we got this and that. They didn't have it. I needed Stolen Ghost Scene. I had a bunch of shit with me, right? So they're like, we don't have it. So I'm like, well, fuck that, right? So my next thing I could do was to rent a van from, I don't know, whoever they are. I was going to rent a van, right? And I don't know if you know this, but you can only rent a van one way. Who the hell did I rent the van from? It's a very famous, everybody knows it, whatever. So then my only option, and then it don't have 3 seats, and I had 3 people. So my only other option then was to rent a van and kind of be in the back and slide around with the stuff while the other 2 people were driving in seats, right? But no, they didn't have any vans. So I couldn't rent a van and drive it home. No, you can't do that. Vans are the one way. They only rent trucks, right? I I'll remember this. I should remember the name of the company by the end. This is embarrassing. I remember the name of the company. Anyway, telling my story. I have to get a truck, and at first, all they got is they got a 15-foot truck. So I got barely anything that I could have fit in a van with tons of room. But I got to drive a 15-foot truck, which cost me $50 to fill up. By the way, when I got it back, and if you don't fill it up, they charge you $30 plus like $3 or $4 a gallon, but like more than whatever the gas is. So I had to rent a truck, drive a huge truck back to where I started from in Florida, right? So I made no progress, and this is with days of like waiting for my stinking car, sitting at a hotel, like $100 a night at a hotel, not getting home, losing money, not eating fucking pizza every night from pizza delivery from the hotel, another $30, just getting killed with the money, right? And then I didn't get home in time to do this show I was going to do, right? And if I did the show, I could have made like thousands of dollars, right? And I even lost money because I paid to do the show. And I didn't miss the other show. But I missed out thousands of dollars by not being home, by not being able to work. I missed out, and I paid like $15,000, and I lost my car. So I get home, right? But my mom, she hooks me up. She says, look, we were looking on Craigslist. We found a car, $1,800 cash, right? And it'll get you home. It's like Town and Country, Econoline, right? Just have taken the stinking van. The truck. A freaking truck. Because I wound up taking a 15-foot truck, 2 hours, just to take my stuff back. Literally ridiculous. I had almost nothing in it, but I'm driving a truck, right? So anyway, guy shows up, middle of the night, right? And he's got a Town and Country car. Chrysler, Town and Country, right? Less than 100,000 miles, $1,800. Looks pretty good cosmetically. I couldn't find anything wrong with it. He said, I put in a full tank of gas with you. He shows me the air conditioner's running. The engine seems to be okay. He says, oh, it's a great car. It'll get you home, blah, blah, blah. But this guy seems to know a lot about cars. Plus, his name is... He gives me this name. I'm like, really? That's your name? Like, it sounded really fake when he gave it. And he had this kind of thing. Like, it's like one of the things where if you're buying a car from a mechanic, either the guy's going to hook you up or he's going to screw you over, right? This guy screwed me over. His name was... so anyway, he goes like this. My name's Johnny De Niro. And I'm like, are you fuck... In my head, I'm like, you're fucking kidding me? Johnny De Niro? That sounds like the fakest fucking name. That's like if I made my name like Dick Pacino. You know what I mean? It's like, it sounds fake. It sounds like, you know. And also, I was thinking about it. Like, Johnny De Niro kind of sounds like... Johnny would be a John, like your pimp, right? If you're a pimp, right? And De Niro's money. So this guy's rap name or street name would probably be Pimp Money. That's something I was just saying. But anyway, this guy, he was like, yeah, you know, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, let's smiling a lot, blah, blah, blah. And I knew that it wasn't going to be as good a deal as it was. And it wasn't an amazing deal or anything. Like $1,800, the car was probably worth $25, right? But it's cash. Boom, no questions. We bought it. We didn't take it to the mechanic. I needed the car for the next day, right? So anyway, sun comes up. The first thing I notice is the tires are all dry rotted. Immediately that's another $150, right? Because I got to drive from Florida to New Jersey, you know, all North New Jersey with dry rotted tires, right? No, I'm gonna have a fucking blowout. I'm not risking my life or the life of the family, you know, when it only cost me, which it cost me $150 to get new tires. How many new tires anyway? But another fucking thing about that, the tires, like I had to go get the tires on a Saturday, so we spent the whole fucking day waiting to get tires. Just sitting there. Like, the guy was like, it's a tire fucking place, right? I'm in a tire place, and the guy's like, well, we don't have these in. I got to get them in. They'll be here in 10 minutes. 4 hours later, right? So that delayed me another day. At least and it was stuck. It sucked because I was stuck in Tampa, and I was like, I can't do anything in Tampa. I was stuck in a hotel. My wife had a headache. We had to walk in 95 degrees, like 3/4 of a mile to get a bottle of aspirin. I almost fucking died, you know. And then I had to walk back. So, you know. Anyway, so Johnny De Niro sells me a car, $1,800, right? So we're like, fine. It seems okay. We put I don't see any problems, right? We put the new tires in, and boom, next day we leave, right? Now it was running okay, right? But what happened was about 2 hours in, everything seems great. We're like, we're happy. That guy, all right, he hooked us up, even though he seemed like he was fishy and shit like that. Blah, 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 right? So we're 2 hours in, right? All of a sudden, the gas tank drops from full to empty, and I'm like, what the fuck, right? So I'm looking behind the car to make sure we're not like trailing any gas. We're losing, like the car's gonna blow up. If a spark hits it, I'll have a trail leading up to the car. The tail end, and we'll just blow up and die in the fucking car because of this guy, right? But it dropped, and it dropped to half, right? So we're like, okay, and then we drive like, and we immediately were panicking. We're like, holy shit, and we're in the middle of nowhere, so I can't get gas. We're like, we're driving on fucking empty, right? But no, we drive along, we make it to the gas station. It turns out that there's a problem in the tank. And that I have to get fixed, right? I'll tell you how much that's going to cost me later. But where it doesn't read right. So that would immediately cost me to fail the inspection, right? In Jersey when I get it back, right? But he didn't tell me that, right? So immediately, but what we do is when we make do, we go, okay, we'll just, because it turns out it's just a misreading, right? And it does it every time, right? So what we wind up doing is we keep zeroing out the mileage, right? We go to 0 every time we fill up, and then we go like 250 miles, and then we fill up. So this way we know we're not ever really driving on empty, even though the meter's reading empty the whole time after we drive about 100 miles, right? It just, boom, it goes full, empty, like that, right? So anyway, we're like, okay, that's not a big deal. Oh, also he goes like this, yeah, the car window's weak, it's not really opening, right? The next day, it's like, no, it didn't work. It didn't fucking work at all. It doesn't. He goes, yeah, it makes a sound when you're bringing it down. No, it doesn't make a fucking sound. It doesn't do anything. So that's annoying because when we're driving down, every time we get to a toll, we got to open the door, we got to open the door and get the ticket or hand them the money. It's a pain in the ass. I don't have Easy Pass, and I'm still not getting it. Fuck you, Easy Pass. I didn't get it. So anyway, about 6 hours in, right? The ABS light goes on in the dashboard. So I'm like, what's that dashboard thing there? And it turns out it's to let you know when you have like that's where your check engine light and shit like that is. So we're like, oh fuck, now we're really worried, right? We're like, what's ABS? I'm Googling shit. We were like on edge because we had literally a week of being fucked over by the car. So we were like, we just expected the absolute worst from this car. Driving home, and we felt like the guy was just going to screw us over and take advantage of us because he knew what our situation was, and he just like 1,800 cash, boom, got it. It's your problem now, right? So we actually the ABS light goes on, and I'm looking up, it's the anti-lock brake, and we're like, okay, you can drive with the anti-lock brake. As soon as I get back, I'll turn it on. And we noticed another goofy little, we were, like I said, we were so panicky on edge with the car. Like every time it made a noise, we're like, what the fuck is that noise, right? White smoke started blowing out of the air conditioner, and we're like, holy shit, the car's overheating, it's blowing vapors. But that just turned out to be water vapors, and that's something you should know. If white smoke blows out of your air conditioner, but it doesn't smell, and it's not thick or whatever, it's probably just water vapor from the water on the air conditioner being cooled and seeping into the thing. It's nothing to worry about as long as it doesn't smell, right? And have a color other than just like light, clear, and white. Anyway. So we drive. We're like we're taking it easy. We're not going crazy. We're driving in a slow lane. We're not being maniacs. Whatever. We get home, right? We go okay. And this is what I'm going to get to like Scummy, because I got like the two people I dealt with when it came to the car. Well, no, there were three, and the other ones were okay. They excuse me. They didn't screw us over. Oh well, actually. The guy goes like this, okay, we'll just call it a wash. The $3,000 that you're going to pay us, you could use to buy a car, we'll take you to a dealership because we know you're kind of stuck, right? And we were stuck. So they take us to a dealership, buddy, and this guy's like, oh yeah, it's going to be so hard to get a van, blah, blah, they're so expensive now. Everybody uses them for flea markets, and they use them for their handyman business, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, he wasted 2 hours of my fucking life because he didn't have a minivan, he didn't have an Astro, and he didn't even have a fucking Econoline. And we drove right by a place that did have it, but theirs looked really new and it was going to be expensive. And I couldn't afford just to drop like, say, $5,000 to $10,000 on a car like that. So I wanted to get something in the $3,000-4,000 range, whatever. So, but the guy fucking wasted my time. He tried to sell me a car, right? That I didn't need. I said, look, it's like I can't buy a car. I got shit with me. I got to take it home. So anyway. So they actually, the garage for me was like a wash. They get to keep my car, but I don't blame them. I blame the guy that fucked me over at the mechanic. Moms and Pops mechanic in Florida, in case you ever go down there. And don't buy a car from Johnny De Niro because he's a scumbag. So anyway, I get home and I have my real mechanic look at the car, right? And he calls me up. He goes, okay, here's the deal. And I'm like, oh, no, right? Because that's not how you start a good conversation. Good conversation is like, nope, it's a great car. Everything's good. I got to put a couple $100 into this and that, whatever. You know, that's what you want to hear. But no, it's like he goes, here's the deal, right? So I'm like, oh, fuck, what, right? What he told me is scumbag Johnny De Niro took out the the check engine light from the dashboard. So he opened up the dashboard and went through the fucking physical trouble of removing the check engine light. Rather than just not screwing me over and potentially putting my life in danger and fucking my family and taking my $1,800 and sending me on my merry way halfway across all the way up the country, right? From almost the tippy tip of Florida to the tippy tip of, like Jersey. No, he fucking like took out the check engine light. So this way, I could have been riding home the whole time with the check engine, right, light going on. And the reason he did it was because of the gas. Now he was like, yeah, I filled up the gas. The reason he filled up the gas was to hide the fact that it would drop to E, and then it would send on the check engine. So anyway. $1,100. That's what I owe. Got to put in a new catalytic converter. I don't know if that has anything to do with whatever. I got to take the tank out of the car, pull that out, and have that fixed in order to pass inspection and get that fixed. And what? The window's gonna cost $250. Fuck. So anyway, it's like. Basically, what my mechanic said is the car right now in the condition it is worth $600. And that's with me putting $150 tires on it, right? Because it's scrap. I have to get the repairs or else nobody's going to want to buy it, right? So basically, in Florida, the guy sold me a $600 scrap car that fortunately made it for $1,800. So he made $1,200 off of me, right? Screwing me over. And, but the bright news is, if I put the $1,100 in it, the car will be worth $25 to $3, which means if I get $3, the car is worth what I paid for it. But I did get my ass out of Florida. But that's my story about scummy people that just will screw you over for money and not give a rat's ass if you go off a road or stuck in the middle of nowhere with all your money and everything that's important. With your family alone and stuff like that. And also how it's not that easy to buy a car. Normally, I would never buy a car the way I did, right? And I would never take my car to any other mechanic than my own. My mechanic did look over my car before I left. But it's like, how is he to know that the carburetor, the 1 in 3 cylinder was the 1 in 3 cylinders were going to go? So I don't blame my mechanic. He's the only guy I trust in it. But anyway, scummy people, you're going to get what's coming to you. There's a special place in hell for people like you. I'm hoping, if there is a hell. I would want there to be a hell just so you go there. And like I said, don't go to Mom and Pop's in Cape Coral, Florida. Don't buy a car from a guy named Johnny De Niro, because he sounds fake and he'll sell you a fake ass car. And anyway, I made it home. I'm on my own toilet, and I think I'm going to do what I do. Goodbye.